Hey YouTube, James from the Wyvern Watch here, and once again here with a deck update. This time it is of course my Gravekeeper deck. Been proved quite a popular video in my last update, which was last year of course. Not many changes since last year actually, but one or two recently, because I was been playing this casually with a couple of friends, and I realised one of the cards in here just doesn't quite work with the deck, so there's a slight change in ratios. But you know, I've had lots of comments on the previous video on this one, and thank you so much for them. Obviously some comments there are saying that it's not the most competitive build. Well, they're absolutely right, it isn't the most competitive build, but you can quite easily take out some of the options that I've gone for to incorporate some of the more powerful cards if you really wanted to, and I'm sure you can increase the potency of this list if you really wanted to. But I just wanted to make, as usual, a pure build, as pure as I could get it anyway. Excuse me. I also incorporate some of the older spell and traps in here that perhaps aren't the most you know, devastating cards in the world, but they work with the deck, and it's a really nice, and it's actually really good fun to play this deck. So without too much goings on, let's get into the list. And of course we're still running the 3 Gravekeepers Commandant. So these guys, you need them, you need Necro Valley, simple as that. You need Necro Valley as soon as physically possible. You also want another option, ideally, to get another Necro Valley, just in case the first one is outed pretty swiftly, which if you're going up against Gravekeepers, you really need to get rid of that Necro Valley as soon as possible. These, of course, are the ultimate rares, which took me a long time. I mentioned it in my last video, to be fair, but it took me a long time to find these guys in really good condition, but we got there eventually. It doesn't matter that one of them isn't first edition, does it? Hopefully not. We're also still playing the 3 Gravekeepers Spy. It's just a really nice defense. It's a good thing to sit on. Of course, if it gets attacked into and you've got Necro Valley on the field, it's a really big defense score, and might just surprise 1 or 2 people. After playing for a while, maybe not, because if you are setting a card, the chances are it's Gravekeeper Spy. But it's obviously searchable as well, so we can get to it fairly quickly. And of course it's got a special summon on there, so that's always good news. Let me just move these over here. And only one other 3 of, which of course is Gravekeeper's Spiritualist. The main tool for getting to the Supernaturalist, part of sort of the newer support. I can't call it new anymore because it's pretty old, but Soul Fusion, was it? Something like that, I think it was. But yes, you know, really super card. Great artwork on this one as well. Shame it's just in common at the moment. Hopefully I'll get another reprint at some point. But yeah, absolutely, it's just a very easy way to get to Supernaturalist super quick, which is the point in that one, of course. Couple of 2-ofs. So we're still got the Gravekeeper's Recruiter. Obviously just going for a monster with 1500 or less defense on this occasion. Just the 2-of on that occasion. I don't think it's super important to the strategy or anything, but it is a handy card when you get it, as is Gravekeeper's Headman. This is one that sort of special summons from the graveyard, so you don't want to potentially see this in your opening hand too much. Hence the 2-of, but still an excellent card nonetheless, and a good addition to the list. And then I've got 4 1-offs, so I'll just put these all out here. So I've still got the Gravekeeper's Oracle, the 1 Gravekeeper Shaman, the 1 Gravekeeper Nobleman, and the 1 Heretic. Now these mainly are here just for the names. I like to play as many of the actual named monsters in the archetype as possible. Shaman's a really cool card. Oracle's a little bit hit and miss. You know, it is a cool card, and you know, it's got quite some useful effects, but I'm running it because it's a classic Gravekeeper monster, really. And like I say, if you're going to keep the list pure and not potentially competitive, and you're just looking to have some fun in a casual game, then Oracle's a great card for that, as is Nobleman. And Heretic's a cool card anyway, it's just unaffected by everything, including Necrovalley. So yeah, that's the monster lineup, guys. Moving on to spell and traps, and of course the sort of elephant in the room is Necrovalley. The whole deck works around it. I play a few decks that work around their field spell, but I think Gravekeepers was sort of maybe the first one that really depended on their field spell. I've still, of course, again, I've mentioned it in the previous video, but these are the ultimate rare ones. From an Astral Pack 04, but they are beautiful cards. I would never part with them now, but really wanted to make sure I got the ultimate rare ones of those. Like I say, cards super important. Always have a copy of Neuron next to you just to make sure that your opponent's happy with the actual wording of Necrovalley, because that has had quite a few erratas. But yes, if you know Gravekeepers, you know how important that is. Another 3 of is Necrovalley Throne. Again, gives you good advantage. So it's obviously, if you need it, it'll get a Gravekeeper monster from deck to hand. But also potentially gives you the extra normal summon as well. So yeah, super important. Easy 3 of on that one. And one that's not normally played in this list, I don't think, but I like it. It's Spellbound. This is sort of the alternative to D-Barrier. But with it being a spellcaster deck, I'd really wanted to play the Spellbound. I love the artwork on Spellbound as well. I think it's great. You could just about make it out. It's very dark, isn't it? But yeah, just an alternative to D-Barrier, really. Quick play spell, works really well. Then there's a couple of 2-ofs. So I've got 2 Hidden Temples of Necrovalley. Obviously, you can only do it while Necrovalley's on the field. And it's stopping the special summon of monsters except Gravekeeper monsters. So great card if you can lock your opponent out. I'm sure your opponent's going to love that if you manage to pull it off. But obviously it's easily outed, because as soon as either the Gravekeeper monster or the Necrovalley is not on the field, then it gets destroyed anyway. So it's reasonably fair, I think, reasonably fair. Another love to hit card is Royal Tribute. If you control Necrovalley, both players discard any monsters in their hands. Okay, that's pretty potent. But again, just the 2 of on that one. They're pretty difficult to get hold of those. I think we probably need a really nice reprint of Royal Tribute. They were a bit more difficult than I expected, to be honest with you. This is, yeah, so I've got 5 1-offs. The first one, which is Gravekeeper's Inscription, is the card I was talking about at the beginning of the video, where I've changed the ratios of them. Because Inscription just gets in the way, honestly. I thought it's obviously a Gravekeeper's card, first of all, so I really wanted to play it. So I had it at 2 in my list. And whilst playing it, I just found it getting in the way. So I've reduced it down to 1. Obviously, it effectively gives you Necrovalley as in normal spell form rather than the field spell. So I suppose it's a bit of a backup. But it obviously is specifically saying neither player can activate blah blah blah. But I didn't want to take it out completely, because, like I say, it is still a Necrovalley Gravekeeper's card. Pot Prosperity is that, you know what that does. Magical Life Fusion, that's obviously because Quintet's still in the extra deck. Gravekeeper's Steel, great card. Could potentially go to 2, to be fair. And Royal Gold Sarcophagus, really just there for the theme, because obviously it fits really well in the deck itself. Last but not least are the traps. So I'm still playing Imperial Tombs of Necrovalley at 3. This is sort of your Omni Negate, I suppose. But it needs to have Gravekeeper monster and Necrovalley on the field, which is, I suppose, is the downside. But yeah, it's a counter trap, so you know it's pretty cool when you work it out and get it working properly. But yeah, it's not easy to, because you do need everything you need on the field. And then there's just the two one-offs, just Judgment and Anubis. Again, very, very appropriate for the archetype, and Necro Valley Temple as well. Like I say, it's just making sure I'm running all the Gravekeeper names. So that is the complete main deck now. That is a 40 card list, guys. Let's move swiftly on to the extra deck. I don't think this has changed an awful lot, don't think, from memory anyway. We'll start with the fusions. Of course, we are still running the 3 Supernaturalists. Absolutely ace card this, and there's the 1 Quintet Magician, as I mentioned before. It's a spellcaster deck. I mean, I can't not play Quintet Magician. It's just on the off chance you pull it off. But Supernaturalist is really what sort of makes the deck work now. Get him on board, and it's pretty difficult to get rid of him, especially if you've got all your spells and traps backed up behind him as well. So yeah, we max out on 3 of those just to make sure we've always got him available. And Quintet, like I say, just a bit of a bonus if we manage to pull it off. A few links in here as well, so I'll just see if I can get them all on. So we'll go back in link rating. So Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, I just thought its name, you know, it's appropriate with it being the Gravekeeper's deck, and obviously it's we can use it in conjunction with IP. So Celine is in there as well. Usual sort of lineup. Nightmare Unicorn, of course, to work in conjunction with Masquerader as well, potentially. We've also got Dark, the Dark Charmer Gloomy. Obviously, it's a bit of a dark deck, so let me just push these up. I like to have them spaced just so you can see them all just about on camera there, just about, yeah. We've also got 1 Artemis, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, and 1 Nightmare Phoenix. So we've got the full Nightmare package there, guys. Well, the legal full Nightmare package. But there's loads of things you can do and change in there. So if there's a few cards in there that you're not particularly keen on, there's no reason why you don't have to keep them, of course. Change it out as much or as little as you want. These are just the ones I've gone for. And 3 XEs as well. All rank 4s, of course, but with you having lots of spells that sort of on the field all continuously. Heartland Draco is always a nice one to go for. I always really like the artwork on that as well. Tornado Dragon's a bit of a staple rank 4 for me. Always good option. And then Down a Magician, of course, spellcaster, and usual sort of thing. So nice and easy, and that is the extra deck for you guys, and that indeed is the end of the profile. Feel free to throw a load of comments in there. I really like to hear them. As usual, this is why I build decks like this. I'll take any comments you have on board, and the next list may or may not have those adopted into my list. So keep them coming, guys. Throw a load of likes in there if you like the video, and we'll see you for the next profile. Cheers.